Yeah, so in the last video, uh, uh, we were making this task manager app, so the users can manage their tasks. So uh, we can see in our this component of task, uh, I wanted a same like borders like the users here. So what I did was like in my user component, there is this um, like css file like styling on my div component. So here it use border radius and which contains a box shadow as well, and the overflow that is hidden. So I can use this like uh, as a thing in my the task component as well, so that in the task I can get the like this this file, this style, css style. Okay, so what I did was I just call my I created a new component, that is card component, and I am using that. I can use that card component like uh, anywhere in my so these files, so that to any component, so that I can add that particular design to that. So for that, what I did was I called the app card component here. Okay, this was like the selector in the card component that I created here with a new name called shared. And in my HTML file, I in my CSS card component CSS file, I imported that design, that border design and everything, and then I called div here, and inside that I called ng content. So this is a placeholder that we can use to call our style from our task component. Okay, so from here, after using this app card here, uh, we can use it in like a placeholder in my here, like it is an placeholder for my task component. And then yeah, in my user component I place this placeholder. Okay, and then use ng content here, and then in my task component I just call the app card here as well. Okay, so after that I can see I got this rounded borders here, similar to my user component in my task component as well. Okay, and this is saving that like our task, and we can delete it as well. So this is about ng content. So how can we use ng content? Okay, now we are going to talk about pipes. So like what are pipes? So pipes helps to like transform the output of a component. If you want to like transform a output of a component, we can use pipes in Angular. Okay, they are predefined in Angular. So I'll be using here a, a pipe called date pipe. I can just Google it, pipes in Angular, to get the documentation. Okay, so these are built-in types. So first is date pipe, formats a date value according to local values. So I'll be using this date pipe to like change my local value. I can just open my date pipe here. Here I can see what options in date I can choose to like display my date. So I can choose the short option to display my date like this. Okay, there are other kind of options here. So I'll be using this full date option, date full date, to display my date is date like this. Now my date is displayed like mm, only this normal date, no month, sorry, no days there. Okay, Also the month is also not there. So to change that, I will just copy this full date, and in my task component template file you can like add in my task due date here where I'm calling my date. Inside that, in my time template, I have added this thing, and then I have called my date pipe here, and this is how I can use this to get this new updated date. So this is how we can use pipes, okay, to transform the output. So they are already predefined in Angular. So these are the different pipes we can use. Further we will talk about more in the course. So for this pipes to work in the TypeScript file, like I have to import this date pipe here, okay, from Angular common, and then use this as an import here, okay. Now after that we can use this easy. Now like in our this f file there are many components used here. So what we can use it, like we can use a service that is mainly used when there are many component, like from one component we are like doing calling other components. So for that we use a thing called service, okay. So what services do is they performs some operation, like it is used when like it performs some operations or manages two or more data in one or more component, then we can, yeah, like use services. So here I'll be creating a task service in my this task component. So sorry, not here in my task component. Okay, so what I can do here is, so I added a task service here. So it is basically a class only which runs our service. So I will be naming it as task service. Task, we run this task. Okay, so now in my task component file, where is it? So I want to like manage my tasks. So what I will do is I will just copy this whole thing, sorry, cut this from here, and I can use it in my text task service that I created. So here I imported this, and I can just like just add this private so that I can use this task inside my task service only. Format. So after that I want to like um, get add a method to like manage my task, to pro to like call all the services, like to add task, remove task, okay. So for that I will just add some methods. So firstly I will add a new method that is users get user tasks, and then it will take user id as a parameter to like call the task as per the user id. and then I just cut this function from my task component TypeScript file. Hmm. This one, okay, and instead of this user ID, there we called it as only user ID. Okay, in my services. Okay, so this thing is going as a parameter here. Okay, to get my user task. Now I want to add a task. Task data, it is called task data, and it will call this new data. New task data, sorry, new task data, and then inside it we can like uh, cut this whole function to add a new task in this array which stores our task to our services. Inside this we will call that. Okay, so instead of this user ID, we can just, sorry, what happened? We can just remove this and like add user ID as a parameter. And what we can do is we have to like import, okay, this is already imported a new task data interface that we created, that is here in our model. Now another method we have to add, that is to remove a task. So we just call remove task. Inside this we will give the parameter ID string, and then we will go to our task component TypeScript file, and then we will just cut this thing that is our logic to remove the task, then add it here. Doesn't exist. Okay, so now this things does not exist here. Oh, sorry, I just added it the wrong thing. Okay, so now All our things is completed now. Okay, so now what we have to do is, like, we have to um, export this task service so that we can call it as an object somewhere, so that we can get hold of our task again. So for that, now what we have to do is to um, use this, like, as I told you, that use it as an object to, like, get hold of our task. So we have to call this task service and instantiate it in our TypeScript file of the task components, so that we can tell Angular that we are using this task service. So using the traditional method of instantiating, there is some issues with that. Firstly, we have to, like, uh, import this task service file class, sorry, is from task.service. Okay, what it is saying is declare what is never used, because we have not used it yet. Okay, now what we will do is, we will just create this thing to call our task service, to store our task service in this task service thing, and then this is instantiating, and then after instantiating it we can use it. So no, sorry, we have, like, completed, yeah, but there is an issue with it, this, that we can, like, we have, like, using this private thing here, so we so, like, only for this task component only we can use this, and it will not, like, sync with the data of um, other components. So for that, what we use is, we use dependency injection. So it basically tells, in this we tell Angular which type of value we need, and Angular creates it and provide it as an argument. So um, to use this dependency injection, what we can do is, like, we can just call our service. Okay, but that I again told you that because we are manually doing this, like, instantiating this, that's why we can't use the data in other, like, we can't sync the data with other components. So for that, we can use the constructor, so that uh, Angular only is creating. Okay, so that is what called dependency injection. So Angular, so we tell Angular, and Angular creates it and provides it as an argument, so that we can use it in other, like, in other components as well, with the data syncing. So I will just add a constructor here, constructor, and inside it, sorry, inside it I will pass task service as an argument that I created here, and then task service I will call my task service class. Okay, so this is my dependency injection. Okay, so now, to make this work, like, we can, it is showing that it is not used. Service. Okay, here we will use the injectable, the root of injectable. Okay, I should be capital injectable. And then like this, what this thing does is like it helps us to like sync with all the other components, so that we can use it to call our task service, so that we can add our tasks or provide different use different operations on it. And for this to work we have to import injectable for angular core from angular core. Okay, so this is done now. I think we are not getting any errors here. We are getting error here. Okay. So instead of using this thing, we can just use the short form to call this. Okay, it is also task service. Hmm. Now I want to like use my task service in other components as well. So in my new task component file, TypeScript file, I want to like use this on submit button and call it as a service. So this is an alternate way to use dependency injection. So I'll be showing that. Firstly I will just import my task service. Service and task service. Okay, uh, in my class here, after this I will just do this private task service, and then instead of using the new task service, calling it like instantiating it, we can just use the inject, this inject thing. So it will just works like an alternate for the other thing that I showed before. Then we just have to import in given input of like user ID, which is required true, and then on our on submit button, this on submit method, you can just call first, you can just call this dot task service dot add task to add a task, and then we just get rid of this emit method. this dot user id. This thing also will be there to call our user id. It does not exist. Okay, so for that we have to like instantiate this new user id in our task component team file, and here new, instead of this new task we will just, here we will just user id. Okay, and then equals to user id. Okay, hmm. Okay, and then after adding this we can just come to our new task component. We can just get rid of this add thing, because we are not adding anything now. We are not using that, calling that add. And then instead of cancel we can just use on close to use it like more universally, and here we will just call this close dot emit. Then new task. So here we will just, instead of this we will just call close. Firstly here dot close. Close dot emit. Inject task services. Oh. In our statement file here you can just use close. And we are not using this add button here. And from here also we can just remove it. Instead of this cancel add task, we will just use close add task. It should work. It is working. And then yeah, so we have successfully started a service, and we can like we just added a service to. Okay, close it, not working, I think. No, it is working. So this is how we can like use services to uh, to manage, like if we are using same components in like projecting same components in other components, two three components, same data in two three components, so like we can call a service and then manage that more efficiently and with less code and more flexibility and understandability. Okay, so this is about this. Now I'll be uh, talking about another video